and right things, surrounds us in favor as a shield. That's what we can remember when we pray in this sad, hard world. But do you know what can happen in this sad, hard world? Sometimes young girls at a Christian camp are washed away in a flood. Sometimes Christians who are trying to be and make disciples at a Christian camp lose their lives. That is the sad world that we live in. You know what the Christian parents of Camp Mystic probably still sound like 5 or 6 weeks later? They probably sound like Psalm 5. Listen to my words, Lord. Consider my groaning. Give attention to the sound of my cry, my King and my God. And maybe they're asking what many asked when it happened. God, how can this be? I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand if you ask that. We ask that. God, you're our refuge. You're the shield. Nothing gets to your kids without getting through you. So why did you let this happen to my daughter or to my family member? That is how we talk to God sometimes in our tears. God, what happened to my daughter or to my husband or to my friend or to my life? When it happened, my wife Scarlett told me she was really struggling with the death of these girls our daughter's age at a Christian camp. And she told me she knew the answers. I tried to give them to her anyway. And I took the high theology approach of a sovereign and holy God who does what he knows. That he sees what we don't see and he understands what we don't understand. And that is true. And yet, that was not the most helpful thing for my wife in a heartbreaking world filled with people who pray, hear the sound of my cry, my God and King. So Scarlett talked to her mom. And her mom did better than me. Her mom had a sweeter and fuller theological perspective as someone who is right now living with stage 4 cancer all over her body. It's everywhere. She is right now preparing daily to be swallowed up in death, knowing that then she'll be in the presence of Jesus forever. And what she told Scarlett, as Scarlett hurt over the people of Camp Mystic, was, I think we put too much stock in this life. How gloriously biblical her counsel was. I think she's on her way to Jesus. I think we put too much stock in this life. She was a better counselor than me that day. It may not be the last. Because my inclination was to protect people from having too small a view of God. Her inclination was to protect people from having too small a view of everlasting life. For the Christian, God is our refuge and shield, but this life is not all that he is guarding. I mean, this is the hard and sad life. Thank God we don't have to live in this forever. We're not just shielded from today, we're shielded for a better forever. So I was talking about this with David, our Spanish pastor, this week, and he reminded me, I think it's Psalm 16 says, precious in the eyes of God are the death of his saints. Psalm 16:11, one of my favorite verses in the whole Bible, you will hear it again, says, at God's right hand are pleasures forevermore. Which is why the Apostle Paul could write, for me to live is Christ and to die is far better. To live is Christ, To die is far better. So God absolutely knows things that we don't know. He sees things in our pain that we don't see. He understands things about our grief that we don't understand, but he's also told us things that we can know. He's told us that this world is not the end. This world of pain is going to be remade into a life of peace. He's told us this. This world of war will be reborn into a world of rest. To live is Christ, to die is far better. Either we believe that or we don't. Because the truth is that the girls of Camp Mystic have never had more refuge than they have right now. This is not the end. Christian girls at a Christian camp woke up surrounded by the shield of the arms of Jesus, and I put too much stock in this life, and maybe you do too. So when we go to God in prayer, we remember that he is our refuge, not just from the pain and the tears and the everything else of today. He's our shield from death itself. We're fleeing to him for protection, not just now, but for forever. Prayer is gloriously powerful and simple. God hears us. God responds to us. God is our refuge. But maybe you